G'day people. I thought I would do a reaction video to this particular website that I will link right down below so you can go check it out. It's from the University of Technology, Sydney. I'll read it out and talk about it. It says, "What is stuttering? Verbal communication is fundamental to quality of life and society." Okay. Stuttering is a disorder of verbal communication where speech is interrupted by repeated movements and fixed postures of the organs involved in speech production. These interruptions can often have struggle and tension and unusual movements of the body and face. The speech disruptions of stuttering range from mild through to severe. In severe cases, a speech interruption of stuttering can last for 30 seconds. Stuttering is a common disorder with 1 to 2% of people affected. I think they meant to say 1 to 2% of adults affected. But anyway. Well, we do all use communication, whether it's speaking or otherwise. So they got that bit right, and it is used in practically everything you do in life. It also says that stuttering is a disorder of verbal communication. Well, you could say that. What causes stuttering? There are many theories and popular beliefs about what causes stuttering. However, despite considerable scientific research from the second half of the 20th century, the full picture about what causes the disorder has not emerged. It seems that stuttering involves some problems with the neural processing, the brain activity that supports speech production. However, the exact nature of the neural speech processing problem is not currently clear. Stuttering tends to run in families because genetics is involved. However, the precise nature of genetic inheritance is currently unknown. In short, stuttering is a physical disorder and is not caused by psychological factors such as nervousness or stress or parenting practices or the way parents communicate with their children when they are young. Although stuttering is not caused by psychological factors such as anxiety or stress, they can make stuttering worse. Now, there's been many theories about what causes stuttering. And yes, I have heard them all. It says here that most of the scientific research is from the second half of the 20th century. well, well, they certainly got that bit right. It goes on to say that there is that that brain activity is involved in stuttering. Well, the fact that I am actually already brainy, I'm not going to comment further on that one. And they say that genetics is involved. Well, well, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And and, and they say that stuttering is a physical disorder. Well, well, my view, that is 100% correct. Yeah. Uh, well, sorry about that. I couldn't seem to keep my computer still just there. But I will continue. The onset of stuttering. A recent study that followed a group of Australian infants found that 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 by 3 years of age, 8% of them had begun to stutter, and 12% of them had begun by 4 years of age. Onset typically occurs as children are starting to put words together into short utterances. The onset of stuttering can be graded or sudden, and and at onset, the severity of stuttering ranges from mild through to severe. In a few cases, the onset can be so sudden and severe that parents think their child has a serious illness. Well, well, they haven't actually linked this particular study, but it does say, but it does sound all completely true. It goes on to say, in most cases, the first sign of stuttering is the child repeating syllables such as I, want, or where is. Stuttering may change soon after it begins, and the child may start to, to show fixed postures of, of the speech mechanism. For example, instead of repeating syllables, the child may hold the lips and tongue in position for a while. This can seem to be a complete stoppage of speech as the child attempts to start a word such as in can have a drink. Soon after onset, sounds may be prolonged during moments of stuttering, such as where's my drink? Often, as stuttering develops, children show signs of effort and struggle while speaking. My view on this is that 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 children will will want to will want to be able to say something, but they can't. For example, a child who stutters may may say, can, can I please have some more, when, when they wanted to say, can I please have some more drink? Natural recovery. Natural recovery from stuttering by adulthood without therapy occurs often. At present, it is not possible to say whether an individual child will recover naturally or will require therapy. We recommend that all children who begin to stutter during the preschool years should receive therapy. There is evidence that if a child stutters for some years, it can be harmful, even if natural recovery does occur without therapy. Well, even if they are completely wrong on this, you should still go and try to cure a, a child stuttering. Mate, yep. As a long-term stutterer, if you're the parent or guardian of a child who stutters, you need to do something about it. The impact of stuttering on daily life. The impact of stuttering on people will differ. For example, someone who stutters only occasionally may experience extreme frustration and anxiety about speaking, while another person whose stuttering is more severe may not be affected in the same way. There is no doubt, though, that stuttering interferes with communication as soon as it begins in preschool children. Sometimes children who show signs of frustration about their stuttering soon after onset. More commonly, school-aged children report feeling of embarrassment about stuttering when answering questions or reading aloud in class. Adults whose work requires effective communication might find that their stuttering prevents attainment of their vocational potential. Yes, stuttering does or does actually differ. One thing to bear in mind is that sometimes a child may be completely frustrated when they can't say something. For example, when I was younger, a teacher was frustrated because he knew that I knew the answer to what he was asking, but I just couldn't say that particular word. Stuttering may interfere with social interactions and may lead to development of social anxiety. Social anxiety can significantly impact day-to-day life. More seriously, it is known that adults who come to speech clinics seeking help with their stuttering are greatly at risk of having social anxiety disorder, also known as social phobia. Social anxiety disorder is a debilitating condition. It involves constant fear of humiliation, embarrassment, and negative evaluation in social situations. Sufferers experience extreme distress in social situations. They can experience difficulty participating in relationships at work, socially, and with partners and friends. This can make them become socially isolated. Well, well. This is really a video in itself. However, yes, it does, it does create social anxiety. It is, it is quite annoying when you find yourself talking very slowly when you're around piles of people. Some people who stutter just like to be completely quiet, uh, and, and that's fine. Do you want to do you want someone in your workplace who 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 is never quiet, or do you want someone who is quiet? Early intervention for stuttering during the preschool years is particularly important because it is known that social anxiety disorder starts to emerge in children soon after 7 years of age. This is why we recommend that all children who begin to stutter during the preschool years should receive therapy. Your first point of call here should be a speech therapist. You are going to hear things like, oh, well, we had this guy and he did this and he didn't stutter anymore. Forget it. Go talk to a speech therapist. Now we're going to move on to the frequently asked questions. Can stuttering be cured? As genetics is involved in stuttering, it is not really right to think about a cure. It is better to think about effective communication, and that certainly is possible. Clinical trials are showing that early intervention in the right treatment is successful, with excellent chance that stuttering will not return. Treatment later in life is a different matter. Clinical trials have shown that teenagers and adults who stutter can learn to control stuttering if they want to, and and anxiety about speaking can be managed, but it is much simpler and effective to have treatment during the preschool years. Most of the cures that you have heard about involve talking slowly. I'll leave you all to think about that one. Uh, if genetics is involved, then it could be that stuttering can't be cured at all. Whenever you You hear about a cure? Ask them to put in writing what they do. When is the best time for early intervention methods? Clinical trials have shown that treatment before 6 years of age provides the best results. However, clinical trials also show that early intervention methods may, to some extent, be effective from 7 to 12 years of age, but this is not as certain. Yes, I know. You should do something about your child stuttering, but 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 getting young children to to listen to you might be a bit difficult. Do anxious people stutter, or does stuttering make people anxious? Anxiety does not cause stuttering. Stuttering can make people anxious, and anxiety can make stuttering worse, which can make that anxiety worse. So this can become a really negative cycle of events. Uh, right, I'm having to to think about this one. Yes, yes, you can feel anxious if you stutter. Is stuttering caused by a physical problem with the brain? At present, it looks like stuttering involves some problem with the neural processing, the brain activity that supports speech production. That just means that stuttering is a physical problem, not a psychological problem, as one as was once thought. Well, as once thought. Well, well, the treatments for stuttering haven't really changed that much over the decades. So I'm not sure about that one. And if the brain is causing stuttering, well, then there might not be that much that can be done about it. What can I do if my child is bullied at school about stuttering? This can have serious consequences for a child who stutters, or any child, and needs to be stopped. It's best to get advice from a speech pathologist who specialises in stuttering. You also need to talk to your child's school teacher. Uh, well, well, I didn't have much bullying about stuttering at school, but there was one incident where we were in a classroom, and someone would say, right, right, okay, you talk uh, for 2 minutes uh, about drinking, and then uh, uh, and then right, you talk for 2 minutes uh, about fridges. And then they said, right, okay, BJ, you talk for 2 minutes about glasses. And I just said, no, I'm not going to do that. While I didn't get into trouble about that, it raises a question about how schools deal with young people who stutter. Are there drugs to help with stuttering? Currently, there are no drugs that can provide effective help with stuttering. I have seen online some supposed cures with drugs on stuttering. My advice is to stay away from them until there is a proper independent study. And remember, things like "it worked for me" mean absolutely nothing. Is there surgery to help stuttering? There is no surgery to help stuttering. I have heard of things like cutting your tongue. I don't recommend you do that. So I'm now going to open it up to you. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments.